Time, a constant shadow, always there, always moving. Tick, tock, tick, tock. You can hear it in a quiet room. You can feel it tightening around your decisions. And the strangest part? The older we get, the faster it moves. As children, days felt endless. Summers stretched out like entire lifetimes. But somewhere between your 20s and your 30s, time starts sprinting. Years blur. You wake up one day and wonder, how did it become 2025 already? Why does time feel like it's slipping through our fingers the moment we try to hold on to it? This isn't just a poetic question, it's a psychological one, a deeply human one, and no one answered it more insightfully than the French philosopher Henri Bergson. While scientists tried to trap time in equations, Bergson said, "Time is not what you think. It isn't a line on a clock. It's not seconds or hours. Time is something you feel in your bones." While Plato linked time to the movement of the stars and Einstein treated it as a fourth dimension, Bergson said no. You can't understand time without understanding human consciousness. He believed the ticking of the clock is a lie we all agree to, a useful lie, but a lie nonetheless. Because the time you live, the time you experience, doesn't move in straight lines. It bends, it swells, it disappears. Ever scrolled through your phone for what felt like 5 minutes, only to realize an hour passed? Or sat in a waiting room where 1 minute dragged like it was a punishment from the gods? That's not just perception, it's your inner reality breaking away from mechanical time. Bergson gave this inner experience a name: duration. Duration is how time feels. Not how it's measured, not how it ticks. It's the way a moment can last forever, or vanish before it begins. It's how your first heartbreak lives in your memory with the weight of eternity, and yet yesterday's grocery list is already gone. He argued that when we only live by the clock, we start to lose ourselves. We become mechanical in a world that was never meant to be run by machines. Time for Bergson wasn't divided into neat segments. It flowed. It blended. Moments weren't isolated points. They were interwoven textures of memory, mood, emotion, and awareness. The danger, he warned, is that we've turned time into a prison. We've become obsessed with measuring it, slicing it, optimizing it. But what if, in doing so, we're slicing ourselves? What if we've lost the richness of living because we're too busy counting the minutes? In one of the most legendary intellectual moments of the 20th century, Bergson clashed with none other than Albert Einstein. April 1922, a lecture in Paris. Einstein, the mathematical genius redefining space and time, was speaking on relativity. Among the crowd was Bergson, older, slower spoken, but razor sharp. When Bergson spoke up, he didn't challenge the math. He didn't deny relativity, but he questioned the entire foundation. What about time as we live it? Einstein replied that there was no such thing as philosophical time, only psychological time and scientific time. But Bergson wasn't talking theory. He was defending the soul of human experience. He believed that science was trying to understand time with the wrong tools, using a ruler where you needed intuition. The media framed the debate as a battle between genius and mystic, and science, hungry for certainty, took Einstein's side. But Bergson never intended to replace science. He was trying to reclaim humanity from its shadow. He believed we were becoming slaves to clock time, that our anxiety, our disconnection, our restlessness came from the illusion that time is a race, and we're all losing. But in truth, time doesn't race, it unfolds. Think about your childhood. Why did it feel endless? Because everything was new, unpredictable. Your brain lit up like fireworks at every turn. That novelty anchored your attention. Every moment was saturated with experience. But now, routine has taken over. The brain files familiar moments into folders, blurs them together. Days pass with no sharp edges, and suddenly, months vanish. Years collapse. Bergson said the key to reclaiming time is not slowing down life, it's waking up to it. It's relearning how to experience each moment like it's your first. That doesn't mean becoming a child again. It means becoming conscious again. He explained that our perception of time is proportional. For a 5-year-old, a single year is 20% of their life. For a 40-year-old, it's just 2.5%. So time literally feels shorter as we grow older, not because it is, but because we are. But even more than memory or math, Bergson believed that your state of mind reshapes time itself. When you're deeply present, truly alive, time stretches. It breathes. It becomes full. When you're distracted, anxious, or numbed by routine, time shrinks. It becomes a ghost. So here's a question for you. Are you living in time or just surviving through it? Because Bergson wasn't giving a lecture. He was giving a warning. If you only follow the clock, you will miss your life. If you never reconnect with your inner sense of time, you will feel like it's always slipping, always disappearing, until one day it's just gone. And here's the beauty of his idea. Time as you know it can be reclaimed. Not with more hours, but with more presence, more awareness, more moments that feel like you're actually here. Bergson believed that duration, this lived, elastic time, wasn't a theory to debate. It was something to return to remember, like waking up in a world that had hypnotized you. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Measured time is about order, efficiency, control. It's how we run cities, catch planes, meet deadlines. And yes, we need it. But it's not the whole story, because while the calendar tells you it's been a week, your soul might feel like it's been a year, or maybe just a minute. And that's not a flaw. That's the truth of human experience. A truth science can measure, but not fully explain. Bergson saw this in the simplest places, how a memory sparked by a smell or a song can pull you backward in time with overwhelming force. Suddenly, you're not just remembering your childhood, you're reliving it. For a second, you're there, not as a ghost, but as if time folded in on itself. This is what he meant when he said, "The past is not gone, it's in us, alive, in the future. It's not something far away. It lives inside your imagination, in your plans, your anxieties, your hopes. It shapes how you walk, how you think, how you love." For Bergson, the now is not a single point. It's a layered experience. The past echoes inside it. The future leans into it. Time is not a line. It's a spiral. It's alive. This view of time reshaped everything. Philosophy, art, psychology. Writers like Marcel Proust took Bergson's ideas and turned them into literature that felt like memory itself. In Search of Lost Time, Proust showed how a simple taste of a Madeleine cake could shatter the present and flood the mind with the entire emotional weight of childhood. Not symbolically, actually. James Joyce in Ulysses compressed a single day into a torrent of thought, emotion, and memory, showing how the mind doesn't move in hours and minutes, but in bursts and spirals. Even painters and musicians began breaking linear time. Think of jazz improvisation, surrealist art, nonlinear film, all echoes of Bergson's whisper. Time is not a rule to follow, it's a current to feel. Psychologists began noticing the same patterns. Memory isn't a recording, it's a living process. It morphs, it shifts, it's emotionally charged. And the more we study how humans experience time, the more Bergson's voice comes back into the room. But here's the part no one wants to talk about. The more we build our lives around mechanical time, the more we lose duration. And with it, we lose meaning. That constant pressure to be faster, more productive, more optimized, it's not making us better, it's making us numb. It's robbing us of the richness of experience. You're not supposed to feel like time is always running out. You're supposed to feel it flowing through you, shaping you, carrying you, stretching and collapsing in rhythm with your inner world. But how do we get that back? Bergson didn't offer a 5-step plan, no morning routine, no clock you can buy. What he offered was a shift, a recalibration. He believed that to reconnect with duration, you must reconnect with conscious experience. That part of you that notices, feels, reflects. You have to let go of control, of trying to pin every moment down. Instead, you let time move through you. You listen more. You watch without rushing. You lose yourself in something that has no stopwatch. Art, conversation, nature, love, silence. You stop treating life like a schedule and start treating it like a canvas. Because here's the truth. You don't need more time. You need more moments that feel alive. Moments where your breath slows, where your thoughts quiet, where your awareness expands. This isn't about slowing down life. It's about becoming more fully inside it. And once you start living like that, something strange happens. Time doesn't feel scarce anymore. It feels deep, textured, rich, like a story you're inside, not a task list you're racing to complete. Maybe that's what Bergson was really trying to tell us, that we're not supposed to measure life, we're supposed to feel it. And maybe that's the secret we've forgotten. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt time, really felt it? Not as pressure, but as presence. Not running from it, not filling it, but being in it, fully awake, fully human. If you can't remember, maybe that's your sign. Because this moment, the one you're in right now, is not just a point on a clock. It's a door. You can rush through it, or you can walk into it with your whole being. You can try to control time, or you can let it transform you. The choice is yours. And as Bergson might say, don't just exist in time, let time exist in you. If that resonated, you're exactly where you need to be. This channel isn't about hacks or trends. It's about clarity, awakening, and the psychology of what it really means to live. Subscribe, and let's keep exploring the moments that matter. The ones clocks can't track. The ones that change you. Till next time, be here. Not in theory, in truth. Be fully here.